Hey guys, this is Locke. This is going to be my in-depth review of 2B. And the very first thing I want to say, if you only remember one thing from this video, it's to wait. At least wait until next Monday, because 2A might be on the way. Uh, this happened in a previous game where they only released 2A in global, and it might happen here as well. So you don't want to regret by using all your Visior right now, and then 2A might come and you really want 2A. So at least wait until next Monday. There's no real rush to get it. Um, Anyway, one other thing I want to quickly mention is if you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe. Now we'll get into the actual review. So 2B has very high evade, and she has two things that actually help her high evade, which is charm resist and a buff that gives her immunity to disable. So if you encounter a unit with high evade and you can't hit it, you can charm them, or you can use status effects like disable to get by the high evasion. So having charm resist and disable immunity is actually really good for a evade unit like 2B. With all the healing going around, especially with Yuna, the 50% decrease healing buff is also very good. And she has a kind of unique buff in the game so far, which increases slash and strike resist by 20%. That is on the same skill as the disable, immobilize, and berserk nullification. And on top of that, with one of her passives, she can absorb the damage that she does as HP. So it's like she's healing herself. So she's a good sustainer in that way. Other pros that she has a 30% physical barrier that lasts for 3 turns after she casts it. And she has 2 different types of damage on her main job, that is slash damage and pierce damage. She also has strike damage in her sub job, so she has access to 3 types of damage, really, depending on the sub job that you play with. She has a slash resist penetration skill on her limit burst, and she has a high agility, which goes hand in hand with her high evade, because agility and luck increase your evasion. So she's going to be a very high DPS, a high damage dealing unit that also is able to do a lot of evasion and has some ways of mitigating the damage that you receive. However, every unit also has cons to go with the pros. So now let's get into the cons. So I know a lot of you guys play this game on full auto, and there's so many modes for playing on auto, like Arena and Guild Wars and so on and so on. So one of the cons is with her auto setup. She has a lot of buffs that she would want to use, like she has a barrier, she has a slash strike resist that I talked about, she has an evade buff on her samurai sub job that you would probably want to use if you're running her on evade, and you might want her to use her TMR buff, which is like maybe Kiza's belt or something, right? So she has 4 potential buffs that you want to use, and most of the time you only get one, and you don't actually even get to choose which one you want. You have to kind of decide ahead of time which one she's going to use. Like you might have to turn off everything else except for the 1 or maybe 2 buffs that you can use depending on the map size. So I think that's kind of too bad that you can't select the priority. It's either like you can't tell her use this buff third. It's like you have to either set it on or off, and she's gonna already use the priority that she has. Something else that's a con is that the height range on most of her skills is just 1, except for Hyen. Hyen has a height range of 2, but it has a actual range of 3, and that goes to the next point that most of the range on her skill is a range of 4. A lot of units now have range 5 skills, so that's a little bit of a con that she doesn't have as good a range as most other units. Now the wind element is kind of a big thing, to be honest, because there are so many good ice units that are out there right now, like Auron and Gilgamesh and Agrias. And there you see a lot of teams right now, especially in Arena and Guild Wars, that are using those units, those ice units. And Wind has it's a negative element to Ice. So Ice will always have an advantage over Wind, and Wind has an advantage over Earth. But unfortunately, we don't really see too many Earth units right now. So I think you should kind of take into consideration the element and like how viable they are. Within arenas and guild wars, how often you'll run into ice and how often you'll run into earth. Maybe that's a consideration for you, or maybe not. Maybe you don't really care about the element, or it'll always have something better and worse against it, and you can just choose not to attack ice units, right? She has negative magic resist, and that is one of her main weaknesses actually, because she has a physical barrier that already reduces physical damage, but she doesn't have anything to reduce magic damage. And a lot of guaranteed hit units, because she's probably going to be running evade, most of those guaranteed hit units are magic units, so they will do like more than 100% damage. They will do 105% damage. And speaking of status effects, she has Nullify to disable, but Stop and Sleep can still go through. So you also have to be wary of units that can apply those debuffs, because if either of those land, then they have a 100% chance to hit you. With that, I'm going to get into some units that are good counters when if you see a 2B, or like if you're playing 2B, these are the kind of units that you want to avoid. So Garvel has a physical barrier, so 2B will be doing less damage to Garvel, and he also has a 100% hit skill. So regardless of your evade, you will be taking damage from him. So that's a unit that you really want to avoid. Aron is an ice unit, which is a stronger element to wind, and he has a 100% hit as well, and he has a barrier break skill. Now the barrier break skill might not land because he might not have accuracy to use it, but that's still part of his kit. Yuna also is it's around a lot, and she has a guaranteed hit skill as well. So you have to be wary when you're attacking compositions that have Yuna in it. She has a guaranteed hit on her LB, and then she has Holy, which is guaranteed hit, and she has another skill, a third skill on her Kotodama subjob as well, which also has guaranteed hit. Now I'm going to talk about some party compositions. I think the natural unit that goes with 2B is Halloween Leela, also unfortunately a limited unit. But Halloween Leela is also a dodge type of unit, and you can put the Shiva vision card on Halloween Leela, and you can put 2B's own vision card on 2B, and with that you'll have 20 evade and 35% luck for the whole party, which is pretty much a typical evade setup that you want. Now there is a third slot that you can put. You can put like agility there if you want, or you can put like something that increases your damage, or you can put the wind attack card as well if you want. But let me talk about a different idea. Instead of using Halloween Leela, there's another unit that I think might actually go better with 2B within wind. So Dario is the unit that I was thinking of. Now Dario is an MR unit, so maybe people haven't thought about pairing him with 2B yet, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Now Dario is a tank, so he will generate hate, and he also provides a magic resist buff of 38%. He also has a magic barrier skill as well, so he's able to take magic hits, while 2B is able to take physical damage hits, right? She has a barrier for that. And Dario can give the party 38% magic buff, magic resist buff, and 2B can give the party 20% slash and strike attack buff. So I think not strike attack, slash and strike resist buff. So I think they kind of go together. I mean, you really have to kind of play around with it, because so do you want to have 2B, Halloween Leela, and Dario? Maybe you could, and maybe you can go, at the full evade setup like that, and still have Dario tanking, and both of those evade units as evade slash attack units. There are some VC considerations that you can think of as well, because if you're using those two evade cards, maybe the third card could be the Tetra card, which gives 35 wind attack to the whole party. Or there is a card that's coming out in the future in about 3 or 4 months that's coming out with the Final Fantasy VII event. It's the Tifa vision card, and that gives 20 evade. So you wouldn't have to use the Shiva vision card anymore. You can use that card. And that is a wind card, so it'll go well with this team of wind units. But I don't think that you have to use 2B in a wind team. I think it makes sense to also use her in different teams. So this party's composition so far has only dealt with her in a wind comp. So I'm going to now talk about her in a different comp. Because 2B is a wind unit, it makes a lot of sense for me to pair her with somebody that's fire, because wind is weak to ice, but fire is strong towards ice. And the most natural unit that I could think of to pair with 2B is actually a unit that's not released, but should be coming fairly soon, and that is King Mont. King Mont is a fire element unit that counters ice, and he provides pierce and missile resist, while 2B provides slash and strike resist. So they kind of with the two of them, you have resist to 4 of the damage types. The only thing you're missing is magic, really. But King Mont is a tank. He's able to provide hate and absorb attacks from enemies. But I think that would be an interesting team to run both of them in. Now, how you would run this team, there's a variety of ways. I mean, you could go with the full evade setup if you want, or you can also go with like a resistance setup to increase resistance across the board with different cards that would do that. If you want to go for a more offensive team, you can also use Rain as well, because not only is he a tank, but he's a magic tank, so he would absorb magic damage for you. And you can use like slash cards, slash attack cards, because that would benefit both Rain and 2B. So that's another way you can run 2B as well, not in a win team, but in a different team. And you don't have to use fire. You can use other teams as well. But these were just some ideas that I was thinking of, that if I was going to pull for 2B and if I was running her, this is probably the way I would do her. Or I would go like a full evade team with like maybe not like a wind evade, but like a evade team with other evade units like Venera or something. But yeah, these are the ideas that I have. You guys let me know what ideas you have and what you're thinking of running 2B as, if you're thinking of pulling her. Now, I'm going to just finish up here with some closing thoughts. First of all, regardless of what I said, I think if 2B is your favorite unit or a unit that you really, really want, I think you should pull for her. This is a game, and if you're not having fun with the units that you want, I don't think you will have fun in this game much. So, like, just first of all, just go with what you find most enjoyable. That's what you should be first going for. Secondly, think about also what units that you want, because you can only deploy between 3 to 5 units at a time anyway. So having a lot of units, yeah, it's great to have options all the time. It's also good to have like vision card options as well. But you are limited in Visior unless you're choosing to spend like real money to get excessive amount of Visior. That's kind of a limiting factor. So just kind of plan out what you want and think about it. And another consideration now that we have to think about is where are you going to stop at, like level 99 or level 120, because they're two different Vizier caps depending on what you want. And finally, just wait a little bit, at least until next Monday or late Sunday night, to see if you're going to get 2A, because I don't think there's anything that you gain by pulling for 2B as soon as she comes out. Because like everything, like challenge board missions or even events missions, everything lasts for at least a week, if not more. Usually, I think events last for a lot longer than a week, but at least for 1 week it should be there. So there's no, you don't miss out on anything by waiting to pull until Monday. So that's what I would do, and that is what I'm doing. I'm not pulling for her right now. I'm gonna at least wait until Monday to see what I'm getting, and then I'm gonna decide if I'm pulling her or not. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. I will see you guys next time. Take care now.